And we will invite Mr. Mickey back up to the floor. So Mickey Campaniello, can you come up to the stage, please?
This is set up, so if you'd like You know, I'm going to need a helper for this first part of my program. So, Constance, could you please come and help Mr. Mick? Constance, let's give Constance a big hand. Constance, I just need you for about 1 minute, Constance, so please come up. Public health in developing countries is not an easy thing. Constance, please say hi again. It's a complicated issue. One answer that will deal with all the problems that we have. You have to be going the medical community, the public health community, families, especially men. And if you heard the doctor speaking just briefly, men have to play a real important role, not only in the family, but in the health of their families. So see, if you cooperate with me, it won't be a problem. So what I'd like you to do is please stand in front of me. That's all they're very good. Now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take your right hand and place it under my wrist right here. Grab a hold. Very good. I'd like you to take the other side and place it right here. No, on this side. Very good. Now I want you to relax a little because see, we're going to cooperate. We're going to have you juggle. Alright, so just relax right there. Okay, I'll do all the work a little bit, then I'll have you come and play, okay? Now we're going to be doing all, there we go. Now you're getting it. I know. Okay, Constance, you're stealing the show. Here we go. You ready? Relax now. Go take a deep breath. Bring your hands down by your side. And relax. Because for this work, Constance, you're doing a great job. Give me class to me, yeah. They want to see more. So you ready to do a trick? Say yes. Yes.
Say yes.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. See, we're cooperating together. Okay, so let's do it again. Here we go. Hold on to this wrist. Thank you. This wrist. Thank you. Now we're going to cooperate together. Now, Constance, you ready again?
Yes.
Okay. Now, not too fast. Okay. Here we go. Now, Constance, get ready. Get ready for the big. Oh, Constance, get ready. Hold on. Get ready for the big trick. This is the big trick. Are you ready? Okay. Now we're going to do 2 tricks. All right. First trick is this. Hold on tight. Constance, my blood's stopping. Here we go. Okay, now Constance, the first trick is this. Constance, close one eye. All right, for the big finale, Constance, close both eyes. Listen, Constance, a big hand up. Does do the same thing. Because she's lived to be 89 years old and she's full of life. Again, I mentioned that public health is a difficult issue to deal with, especially in developing countries. I work with children 4, 5, and 6. What I do is one part of the health education program. The first part is the entertainment. For me to get you excited about learning, to have fun. The second part is the teachers that reinforce the concepts that I teach. That's why I developed a curriculum for the teachers. The third part are the parents. To reinforce the concepts that I teach, the parents reinforce it. And I use the children to get after the parents and to teach the parents, especially in countries where the parents may not speak any English, may not be literate at all, none. And so the children who are learning in the schools can do that. Also, you'll find in many developing countries they have what is called an informal schools, where the mothers may be working and there's no really formal school. I'm very fortunate enough, my foundation has been involved with a foundation out of Bangladesh, and we have a micro loan program that we do in the villages in Dinajpur. And what it is, we loan women only, we loan women money to start small businesses, in which they pay back an interest on the loan, and that money is then used to run one of our medical clinics that we have. Oh, there goes. Okay. So do you see them? Everybody go yes like this. No, you don't see them, is there? It's empty. No problem. Please, everybody, take your hands. Take your hands. yourselves a big hand. One of the concerns, I had mentioned that I have a budget of about $100,000 US for the program I do in the schools. In Hawaii, I visit about 250 schools a year. My whole program is provided free. I raise all the money to bring it to the schools free, all the education material, the playground balls, all the material I do. That way the teachers don't have to worry about raising any money for anybody else. If I was going to be going into a developing country on a full-time basis, I would look for a major corporate sponsor, someone who's doing business in the United States. And you've got to remember this, if you're looking for funding, many companies have an obligation to donate funds for worthwhile causes. It's up to you to prove to them that your cause is worthwhile. There are millions and literally millions and millions of dollars out there that are available. And if I was going to be coming and doing this full-time, I'd probably get someone like Johnson & Johnson or Colgate Palmolive, one of those big companies who are doing business in developing countries, and say, hey, look, I want you to help give back to the community. You know what? The problem is this. This is a purse that I brought with me today. The problem is we don't have any money. We have no rupee. Could you please put your fingers in there to make sure there's nothing. You reach into our pockets, no rupee. But if you use the magic and special words, what are they? Namaste. It's amazing what you can find in that little purse. You know, unfortunately, it's not money. But I want you to remember, if you're thinking of starting a program, especially those of you from the United States, you're saying, geez, you know, I don't necessarily do what Mick does, but I have a program that I'd love to do for women or for children. There are funds available out there, and start yourself your children's foundation or whatever it is, and tap into it because it is available for you. I'm going to need a helper to get started, so what I'd like to do is I'm going to ask the doctor in the back. Please come and help Mr. Mick. Let's give him a big hand. I admire your hat. You like that? Well, thank you. Well, I don't know if it looks good on me. No, I think you look good. But what I brought you up is because, sir, I know that in your practice you have to do some suturing, right? Because you had to suture the last couple of days. Did you have an accident? Did you have to do any suturing?
I can do it.
You didn't have to do any.
With the accident in India, near New Delhi.
Oh, so they had suturing done there. Well, we know you're a good doctor, and what we want to do is we want to show you how you would do some suturing, so we want to see how you are with scissors. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand the scissors to you. You know, in many countries where they use tube wells, they are able to draw their water. In some places, though, they need to use rope to let their bucket down and then to draw the water up. And what you want to do, remember, is to teach that this rope here, and this is an example, or the bucket that you're using is used for one purpose only, and that's to draw water, if at all possible. Why? Because bacteria and dirt can go onto the rope, they go into the water, and we're trying to keep it clean as it is. Did you know that over 60% of the world's population does not have good drinking water? So, if I was going to be teaching a subject like this, the importance of making sure that the equipment that you use to draw water out of your well, use it for one purpose only, for drawing the water. So what I'm going to ask you to do is help me, because see, the well that I have is only this deep, but the rope is very long. So what we need to do, Doctor, Dr. Gentleman, is you need to help me with this rope because it's way too long. So we want to watch your suturing skills. We want to see how good you are with a scissors. So what I'd like you to do is just cut this right about here. Could you do that for me? Very good. Yes, just cut it right there. Good. Go ahead, sir. Very good. Good. Now, please answer an important question because I know you know English, right? Okay. What I need you to do is I need you to ask me how many pieces of rope do we now have? We have two, right? We should have had two, but what we have is just one. Right? So we're not sure about your credibility here. to make sure it's tight. Oh, okay, very good, very good. Now, Doctor, may I have the scissors? Thank you very much. I like the way you handle it. Very good, thanks. Now, Doctor, what I'd like you to do is, we've tied it into 2 pieces, right? So what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to please hold this piece right here for me. You stay right there. And I'll hold this right here. Now, what I'd like everybody to do, this piece of rope is short and hold the well, we're going to keep it off the ground, is I'd like you to point to it. 2 pieces of rope joined together. So please point, everybody. Everybody. Point right there. Yes, now, Doctor, we're going to ask you a question. Do you like that knot there? Do you like that knot right there? Do you like it? No, then we'll just move it right there. You don't like it? We'll move it over here if you like. You don't want to do it? You don't like the knot? We'll just give it to you right here. Let's give the doctor a big hand. And many of the things that I do is to teach a message, and it's also to keep the children entertained, because we know at age 4, 5, and 6, or at age 45 and 6, oftentimes we lose them. So I'm getting a little thirsty, so let me get a quick drink of water, and then I'll get right back to the performance, because I have to talk a lot, so just let me get a quick drink here. Yeah, that's cool. Where's Susan for our test? Maybe be a little bit darker than this, though. You never know what's inside what you're going to drink. And that brings me to my next point. Here I just poured a glass of water. This hopefully came out of a clear bottle, and this is actually good drinking water. So, I'm really not sure. And in many cases, you want to make sure, so there are a couple of things that we can do. One is that we can boil our water. Not practical in Nepal. Why? Because most of the fiber that they gain, those who live in the villages, use it for cooking. So it's not a practical thing. The other thing is the solar that Susan also talked about. But you know something? I think it costs 600 or 800 rupees for those particular barrels. May not be practical also. The third alternative, she said, is using solar, which is a really good idea, even in spite of not being able to do the first step. Because what you can do is let the sediment actually dry, or let the sediment fall to the bottom, use the solar energy from the sun to help kill some of the bacteria, and that's what you have, in spite of not having the financial resources to buy something else. But what was a great idea is the woman who I heard talking earlier, or yesterday, about the Tibetans who use the sun to heat their water kettle. Who was the lady? Is she here today? And what they did is they had a water kettle, and they put reflective mirrors on each side, and they used the sun to boil the water. It cost no money, just by using that. So there are a number of different ways that we can use to heat treated water. This I'm not going to drink because I'm really not sure what it is. But it just brings you to the point that we have to be aware of the water that we are drinking. The doctor mentioned that we have many children in Nepal who have intestinal problems due to poor water supply and also probably poor food handling consumption also. Those are 2 of the major reasons why we have in here in Nepal is a lot of diarrheal diseases is because of poor drinking water and food contamination. Some of you on this trip may have had some problems with what we call traveler's diarrhea. When you go to a new country, you may have. So those of you who are not familiar, I'd like to share with you something, and you may already be familiar with it. In the States, we have Pedialyte for children. This was developed by the ICDDRB in Bangladesh. And what it is, it's oral rehydration solution, and you mix it yourself. Now, I do not recommend, this costs me, I think, 12 rupees. It's something that's really good for us, especially the Westerners. You can put it in your pack and take it with you. And all you do is add a liter of water and it works fine. 12 rupees is 12 rupees. So what they can do is you can use the local, first of all, there may be some local treatments that they already have. I know down in the United States, like in Hawaii, in the South Pacific, we use green coconut. Green coconut water is a wonderful rehydration solution to use. Some people use rice water tea or rice water. Some use tea. A lot of different things. What kills more children throughout the world is diarrheal diseases. And it's caused from dehydration, from loss of blood. By adding a little of salt and sugar, which is this component right here, you can save millions of lives. And the ICDRB came up with this. You can make your own solution, though, and I'd like to show you what it is. All it is, and I just took these from sugar. 4, only 4. And you can pour it in like this. And again, you may have your own home remedy or a remedy that's custom from your particular country. But you can use just like this. I'll show you what a teaspoon, little teaspoon is just like that. Okay? And you need 4 of these. The most important thing is to make sure that you don't use too much. I'll just put that right there for now. So how many do you use? 4. And you need to use a little bit of salt. So what I'll get some is some salt right here. I think I brought some here. Uh-oh. I forgot the salt. Does anybody have any salt on them? No? Oh, that's okay. Do you have it right with you? You don't. And you know what you need is a little bit of salt. We actually say a pinch. Actually, it's about a half a teaspoon. It used to be more, and they found out that it probably caused more problems than having too much salt in the solution. So what they've gone now is like a pinch of salt. But I need some salt. Do you have any salt? No salt. But I bet you can help me. Could you please stand? Could you help me? Could you help me? Come on, come on. Come. Give a big hand. Big hand. Who is this? Your name? Will you please help me? Could you help me? Okay, you can. All I need you to do, we can do this together, you and I. We can do this together. All I need you to do is take this fan like this and fan my hand. Okay, can you do that? That's it. I'm going to rub my hands together like this. What I like to do is go ahead and fan it like this. Go ahead. And I'm going to say the magic words, namaste, right? Namaste. Because if you do it right, namaste works really good. And I get all the salt I need. Right there. Let's give my friend a big hand. Thank you very much. May I have you back? Thank you. You did a wonderful job. Thank you for helping me. I really appreciate it. That's okay. You can go ahead and sit down. You let him borrow things, look what happens. I'm going to need a helper, and I think I need the president of 4thSakyadhita. Could you please, 4thSakyadhita, could you please help Mr. Mick? Come on, let's give a big hand. In the United States, this is like major flu season. Everybody gets sick. Actually, half the people in the back have been sniffling. We're all coming down with a slight cold. We're in close quarters, and we're also going to be coming down with a cold. But I need you to please come. And one of the best things a person can do, whether you're in the United States, in Nepal, in India, in Vietnam, is simple hand washing. Prior to eating and after defecating. Now in some places, believe it or not, they do not have enough water, so they actually use ash to clean their hands, to get rid of any type of germs or bacteria that may be on their hands. So I need to ask you to help me. We're going to demonstrate how to wash our hands. Okay? Now, how long should you wash your hands? Ideally, about 20 seconds. Should you use soap? Of course, if you had soap. But in many places, they don't even have soap. So we're going to make believe we have soap. Can you help me? Okay, so you have to do everything I do. Okay, first we're going to borrow some soap. So you stay right here, get some soap. Okay? And you're going to help me, everybody. So you stand right here. Okay? You just stand there and everybody get some soap, bar soap. Okay? Let's wash our hands. Very good. Now we should do it for about 20 seconds. Now don't forget the back of the hands, in between the fingers, and the fingernails. Actually, one of the big culprits. And the thumbs, and the wrists. It takes about 20 seconds with a little friction. Now remember, it's whether you're 3 or 103. Hand washing is the #1 thing you can do. Okay, now, what we need to do, should we go like this? No, you can shake your hands back, or I have a special towel for you to use. Because I want to make sure you have clean hands. So I brought with me this towel. This is what color? Red. How do you say this in Nepali? Red. Red. Good. So what I'd like you to do is just please dry your hands for us. Because we know it's important to wash before we eat, and especially after using the bathroom. The other thing is this. You find that many women and men, if they have a child in the home, the most important thing is to clean up the mess after, because their fecal matter is even more contaminated than ours. So make sure that after using the latrine, and if they're going to not use the latrine, to bury their fecal matter away from the area that they're using. Now, could you please show everybody how clean your hands are? Very good. Now, I know you can correct. So could you show everybody how your hands go like this? One thing that. Show everybody. Let me see. Yes, they look very clean. And that's why we had you help me today. Because she did a good job. And what's the matter? See, you really never know. You think you have clean hands, but you really never know. And you know, to explain germs are things you cannot see. But one way to help prevent is to make sure that you can properly handle it. Okay, let's give my friend a big hand. But don't go away, because I have something for you. A gift. Everyone, ready? She's giving me that look. I have been teaching children and adults health and physical education for 25 years. And a great part of that time, I've used the medium of entertainment to teach. I have a trick for our scholars. We know the importance of nutrition. Unfortunately, you know what the biggest problem is when you think of developing countries and you think of public health? You know what the number one issue is? It's probably lack of jobs. It's probably a lack of being able to have an income to be able to buy food for your families. I can do all the entertaining I want and all the fun things, but to be honest with you, if your parents don't have a job and you don't have an income and you're not making money, it is very difficult. So really that's an area that we have to address, is to provide jobs for people so that they can better their lives. Now, and nutrition is a very important thing. And it just so happens, and I had some apples here today, is I brought an apple here today. Now this is a beautiful, I think, delicious apple in America, we call it. And this is for those of you who are scholars, because this is a magical apple. It's a magical, I'm not going to eat it because but it is a beautiful apple. Because see, when I want, and I use the magic words namaste, I can have this apple stop anytime I want in this road. I know what you're thinking. Unbelievable, Mr. Mayor. But watch. Tell me when to stop. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does he do that? So after this show, I want you to come up and tell me how to do it. But I'd like you to watch it again, because this is something that you can really see. Now, the thing is to hold it really tight like this, and just let it go down, and you just tell me when you want me to stop it. Watch again, last time, and then I want you to tell me how I do it at the end. Okay, here we go. Very important. Now, the reason I bring this up, because fruits and vegetables are very important, especially in developing countries. You know, one of the biggest problems among developing countries is vitamin A deficiency, which we can really take care of by eating more green leafy vegetables, and also things like papaya, mango, squash, and also eggs. Well, one last time, I want you to watch this very carefully. Which is one way to help prevent night blindness. You just tell me when you want me to stop. Okay, let me put this over here because we talked a little bit about nutritional foods. The children that I've seen in my few days here, I would say 60% of the children I see are probably malnourished. If I had to, maybe even higher malnourished because of lack of food, also lack of protein. And so what I have here is I'd like to show you, I'm almost done, right? I have how many more minutes? Well, time is up. I have no more minutes except for this last trick I want to show you. Protein can come from many sources. Fish, meat, and also eggs. We had some wonderful eggs the last few days, and they're in most cases very inexpensive. And it's a good source of protein, especially for children. So what I got is I brought this very special bag to show you. Now this is no ordinary bag because this is a bag that has an egg in it. Do you all see the egg? You're looking at me funny saying there's no egg. See, eggs are real important. So what we need to do is we need to have some help here. What we need to do is, if you can all just clap your hands, go ahead, clap your hands really loud. Just go clap them. Go ahead. Because if you clap, you didn't clap them hard enough. But sometimes if you clap them really hard, you'd be amazed that, well, that's right. An egg is not only a good source of protein, it's also a great form of vitamin A. You know, this was just a brief introduction of how you can use the medium of entertainment to teach. Again, it is not the only method. It's used in conjunction with other things, but it's able to gather a crowd, to have children have fun, and learn at the same time. Thank you. Namaste.
Catholics for Free Choice is an international non-governmental organization. We're based in Washington, D.C., and through discourse, education, and advocacy, we shape and advance reproductive health ethics that are grounded in Catholic social justice tradition and reflect a commitment to women's well-being and respect and affirm the lives, the moral capacity, and the lives of women and men to make reproductive decisions about their lives with decisions that are sound and responsible. I am here today to talk about interfaith perspectives on reproductive health. Reproductive and sexual health is important to religious traditions because it is central to the physical, mental, and social well-being of women and men. Reproductive and sexual health is also a cause of divisiveness within religious traditions and within relationships between women and men. I do not intend to cite specific examples of where specific religions support reproductive health. What I intend to do is lift up fundamental values and principles within the religious traditions that most of the world religions share, that put forward ethical and just approaches to reproductive health. In light of these shared values, I want to look at how the realities of women's lives challenge us as religious who are committed to education and healthcare. I propose that as peacemakers, we have responsibilities to be involved in the political process to ensure that women and men can make sound and responsible decisions about their reproductive lives. Fundamental values shared by most of the world's religions, such as teachings on compassion and suffering, justice and equality, the role of individual conscience in making moral decisions, respect for life, and respect for the environment. These are essential to living a morally sensitive life. When placed in the context of reproductive health, these values can help guide us when working with women and men and adolescents on reproductive and sexual decisions. Of course, however, questions around reproductive health are influenced by our beliefs and values on reproduction and sexuality. I come from the Roman Catholic tradition, which has a very rich social justice tradition, yet it's very restrictive on its positions on women, reproduction, and sexuality. Many other religions share with the Catholic tradition divisive and complex moral issues around reproduction and sexuality. Determining the size of one's family, contraceptive use, sterilization, fertility treatments, and availability and accessibility of legal and safe abortion. Yet many faithful and religious followers choose to follow their personal conscience on these moral issues. What is our role as religious persons in responding to the daily lives of women and men when respect for personal conscience have fewer children. HIV/AIDS and other sexually transmitted diseases, violence against women, which often results in unwanted pregnancy. These are challenges that we must face. Sex that is forced on women within marriage and other relationships. This is often influenced by alcohol and drug abuse, and this denies women sexual pleasure. This is the reality that we must face. The maternal mortality rate in India, 460 per 100,000 live births, is one of the highest in the world. In the Philippines, pregnancy and childbirth are major causes of women's death, with self-induced abortion one of the leading causes. Although illegal, abortion is practiced in the Philippines, often under unsanitary conditions and without suitable medical care. In Thailand, the Ministry of Public Health estimates 750,000 are infected with AIDS virus, with nearly 20,000 having developed full-blown AIDS. And as you know, in Asia, where sex tourism, prostitution, and trafficking of women and girls is prevalent, many poor women have turned to the sex industry for economic livelihood, oftentimes or most times not of their own choosing. And in China, it is estimated that at least 1/5 of Chinese wives have been abused by their husbands. The reality of people's behavior is a challenge to religious persons. That is why it is important to educate ourselves, each other, about these realities. We cannot shy away from issues of sexuality and reproduction, regardless of our personal beliefs or our personal lifestyles. Whether we are celibate or if we are sexually active, we must address the issues. Educators and healthcare providers must overcome any reluctance to address issues of reproduction in an honest and informative way. It is the role of religious educators and healthcare providers to provide sound education to girls and to women. They need to know biological facts, social facts, and political issues. Access to and knowledge of contraceptive use, especially condoms, is crucial for reproductive health. Diseases like HIV/AIDS are part of our communities, and so we must talk about it, teach prevention, and act with compassion to those who have contracted the disease. Here in Nepal, women are serving prison terms for having had abortions, even women who have sought abortions due to rape or incest. Compassion and solidarity is needed so that these women know that their lives have worth, that they have dignity. As religious people, we are called to express to the women in prison that they are not forgotten and they are not rejected. I understand that respect for life and respect for personal conscience are complex values in need of balance. The balance can be found when we seek to understand the physical, psychological, economic, and educational circumstances of women who seek abortions and respond to these women with compassion. Of course, these issues of reproduction and sexuality, the health issues as well, are political issues as well. Engaged Buddhism and other religious activism have responsibilities to use the political process to ensure that women and men can make thoughtful and prayerful decisions about their reproductive lives. Acting in the political realm, we can work to ensure that people are treated with fairness and with dignity, and that policies are made that incorporate values of compassion, justice, respect for conscience, and respect for life. Religion Counts is an international interreligious group of religious scholars and activists who have stepped into the political arena to offer policymakers positive, ethically sensitive thoughts on issues surrounding reproductive health. Dr. Arvind Sharma is a member of Religion Counts. He is also a professor of comparative religions at McGill University in Canada. He addressed a recent United Nations meeting where government delegates were present, and they were doing a review of the International Conference on Population and Development that happened in Cairo, Egypt in 1994. Dr. Sharma explained to government delegates how determining the size of one's family has support from the world's religions. Almost all a quote from Dr. Sharma, almost all the influential figures of the world's religions had small families. Rama, the popular god of Hinduism, had 2 sons. The Buddha had 1 son. Mahavira, the last prophet of Jainism, had 1 daughter, if that. Confucius had 1 son. Lao Tzu, founder of Taoism, none. Abraham had 2 sons and 2 daughters. Moses had 2 sons. Jesus, none. The prophet Muhammad was survived by a daughter. Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and most of Judaism and Christianity understand the use of contraception as a moral good. Highly respected religious leaders have asserted that abortion is permissible in some circumstances. Anglican Archbishop Desmond Tutu supported South African constitutional provision legalizing abortion. And the Dalai Lama, while generally opposed to abortion, has said that abortion should be approved or disapproved according to one's circumstances. It is important to the peacemaking process to inform governments, policymakers, each other, and the people we serve about religious values, doctrines, and such assertions that uphold women's access to reproductive health care. Women and men must be in harmony with their bodies, with each other, and with their communities in order to bring peace to the world. Safe and accessible reproductive health care and education, including access to legal and safe abortion, are means of achieving this harmony. And as peacemakers, we have a duty to help others attain this harmony.
May you grow stronger and wiser from your experience. Third, I realize that it's been a long day and it's getting a little late, so I'd like you to use a little bit of psychology. Pretend my time is an hour long so that my 20-minute talk will seem refreshingly short. Okay. My talk today is on loneliness. It's a very uncomfortable topic, so why in the world would I want to talk about this? Well, how many of you have ever experienced tune with the true nature of things. Many people follow organized religions, such as Buddhism, Catholicism, and Judaism. Whichever practice one chooses is fine. It's an individual choice. The goals seem similar, such as the transformation of the soul to a sense of universal spirituality. So I talk to my patients about wellness. I do this because I want them to understand that as a psychiatrist, I will help them with physical and psychological problems, but it is not in my realm of expertise to help them with their spiritual needs. They must go to a religious leader for such issues. Now, getting back to why I'm talking about loneliness. Basically, I see a confusion of people in the West using Buddhism as a means to alleviate psychological suffering such as loneliness, rather than practicing it spiritually as a means to achieve enlightenment. I tend to believe that just as a child needs enough proper nutrition to grow, one must have a certain amount of psychological help for spiritual development. I sit and meditate in an attempt to progress to a higher level of consciousness, but sometimes I can't sit at all because I'm too upset over, say, a hurtful comment from a friend. How many of you have also had a similar difficulty of sitting? I like to use psychological tactics to calm myself down such that I can meditate effectively. Other people cannot meditate or practice mindfulness when they are distracted or unable to focus because of depression, anger, psychosis, or other unhealthy mind states. This is what I mean when I say that a certain level of psychological wellness must be attained before one can effectively pursue spiritual development. Now, I would like to address how psychological and Buddhist approaches to human misery are different and how they are similar. So I chose to talk about a common ailment, loneliness. It's an embarrassing and shameful condition to admit that one is lonely. However, it seems that almost everyone feels lonely at one time or another in their life. It is a very human condition. Some people are better able to cope with it than others. First, I need to explain what loneliness is so that we are clear what I'm talking about. Loneliness is a very individual experience, and therefore is not an easy term to define. Some people feel it intensely, while others deny ever experiencing it. In general, loneliness is an unpleasant emotional experience that occurs when one is not satisfied with their connections with others. Some people think that it is a basic need of man to relate with others. We are social beings and seek interpersonal intimacy. We want someone to love us, to let us love them, to acknowledge our existence and our strengths, and to laugh and enjoy life with us. When I'm lonely, I wonder if anyone would care if I were to die. Does anyone care if I'm alive? Do others accept me as I am? Am I unloved, unlovable? I tend to feel rejected, needy, and anxious. Besides the emotions and thoughts, I experience my despair physically. I have cold skin, constricted chest, sapped energy, and I also sigh a lot. How do you experience loneliness? Now, there are different kinds of loneliness. Social loneliness occurs when one's access to others is cut off, such as being bedridden with a broken leg, being deaf, being blind, moving to another area, such as entering a nunnery, going to school, or traveling abroad. Emotional loneliness occurs when there is a disruption in relationships, like when a family member dies, when you break up with a lover, when a friendship is broken, and when there is miscommunication with loved ones, which makes one feel misunderstood and unaccepted. There is also existential loneliness, Some people feel adrift and disconnected, wondering why they are here. What is the meaning of their life? Do they have a purpose? We can go on talking about what loneliness is, but the important issue is how does one deal with it? In order to cope, it helps to learn to problem solve effectively. The first step in problem solving is to identify the problem or situation. So I ask myself, what's wrong? Well, my problem is that I'm lonely. The next step is to determine if this is a disturbing enough problem to focus my attention and energies onto. Then I consider what I can do about my loneliness. What are my options? Well, I can dwell on the negative feeling, or I can seek out a friend, or I can distract myself by going for a walk, and so forth. Then, just as in a game of chess, I consider the consequences for each possible move. So if I choose to do nothing, the consequence will probably be that I will remain lonely and perhaps become depressed. If I contact a friend, they may not be responsive and I'll be back at square one and I'm still lonely. Or the friend may be happy to hear from me and is supportive and available to do something with me. The final step in problem solving, after first identifying the problem, second, assessing if it warrants action, third, considering my options, and four, considering the consequences of each option, the final step is to choose the best solution and act on it. Action is key. If your hearing is failing, get a hearing aid. If you're lonely because you're isolated at home with a broken leg, ask a friend to visit. For social loneliness, it's best to simply reach out to others. Of course, one is usually lonely because one feels unable to connect with others. When you are unable to help yourself, that is the time to seek out help from another person, a spiritual leader or a professional therapist. When people come to me as a psychiatrist, I try to help them using various psychotherapeutic tactics. The different kinds of therapy all involve having a meaningful relationship with a therapist. You may feel better by being allowed to talk about your distress with someone who is non-judgmental, caring, and most importantly, present. Feedback that one is experiencing a common problem, that others go through this, too, often helps. You may be comforted to know that you are normal and not alone. A second approach is to examine your past and uncover the source of your distress in a previous unfulfilled relationship. Gaining such insight by identifying a core incident is helpful at times. A third way is to look at your relationships and examine how you connect with people. How do you maintain friendships? Is there a pattern of alienating others? Do you tend to withdraw? Are you too intrusive too quickly? Whichever approach I use, I always provide education about emotions. Understanding emotions is very important in learning to cope with them. Emotions can be broken down into physical sensations and thoughts. I have described loneliness earlier in this way. One also learns that moods come and go. This allows you to be patient and let the feelings pass rather than acting impulsively. You must also be responsible for your emotions. Other people do not cause your mood, and you do not have to help alleviate your suffering. I may react to perceived rejection by feeling lonely, but how I continue to respond is up to me. We have more control than we think over our emotions. You can learn to soothe yourself. Now, there is a psychotherapeutic technique that is based on the principle that moods are created by thoughts. A bad feeling is the result of thinking illogically and negatively. So if you change your thinking, you can change your mood. Consider the following sequence. There is an event that occurs, and you perceive this event. Then you attach meaning to your perception. Then you experience the emotion. If you feel bad, then check if you perhaps misperceived the event, or if you understood the event in a distorted way. Now, you can still have negative feelings like sadness with correct perception and thinking. If you have lost a loved one, then sadness is a normal response based on an undistorted and realistic perception of your loss. With genuine sadness, there is no suffering per se, but instead there's a rich sense of knowing that you care, that you love, and that you're letting go. You have been hearing about different ways I help people deal with difficult feelings like loneliness. I'm sure that you have been picking up some Buddhist elements throughout the talk. I chose to speak about loneliness not only because it is a common experience for us, but because it is a very un-Buddhist concept. The sense of loneliness basically is bred from attachment and having a concept of self. In Buddhism, as I understand it, as one attains enlightenment, there is a profound sense of the oneness of the universe. There is no self, and thus nothing onto which to claim. One sees how interconnected and interdependent everything is. Loneliness does not exist as one transcends to a higher level of awareness. For those of us who are not yet enlightened, we experience life as suffering with unskillful mind states. Buddhism and certain psychological approaches can offer relief in similar ways. First, there's the concept of self-responsibility. Buddha teaches, be launched into yourselves. Betake yourselves to no external refuge. Look not for refuge to anyone beside yourself. Next is an understanding and acceptance of life and suffering. The first two of the Four Noble Truths can be addressed in psychotherapy with attachment and misperception often being the cause of unnecessary human misery. Third are the concepts of mindfulness and insight. Not resisting an unpleasant emotion, but instead experiencing it completely and investigating it objectively is often a beneficial psychotherapeutic exercise. Buddhism goes beyond psychotherapy and beyond psychology with the Eightfold Path as a prescription for the cessation and prevention of suffering. It also promotes compassion much more profoundly than is proper for a psychotherapist. There are many more comparisons and contrasts one can make between psychotherapy and Buddhism. I did not even mention meditation and karma. However, the point I would like to emphasize is do not lose focus of your aim. Practice Buddhism for spiritual development to realize enlightenment. Take comfort in Buddhist concepts, but do not stop short at the alleviation of psychological pain. Follow the Eightfold Path and transform your suffering. Use your suffering as a catalyst to grow with wisdom and compassion. Before I conclude, I'd like to do a quick exercise. And I would like to ask the people from Hawaii to come forward and help me with this. So June, Shirley, Hal, Mr. Mike, next Shane. Carla. In Hawaii, we have a special sign. It's called the shaka sign. I'd like to teach it to you.
Aloha. This is good. Take it easy.
It's a wonderful reading. Okay, so I'd like everyone to show us the shaka sign. Okay, and remember, a smile always goes with it. Okay. Now I'd like everyone at this side of the room to turn towards the other side and smile and give them a good shaka sign. Now, everyone on this side of the room, turn to the other.
Thank you very much, Megan. This concludes the afternoon session, but let me remind you once again that there will be 2